What's up? It's your boy, Event 2K, with a special episode of Lyrics to Go. We're back, baby. And in this episode, where I talk about the latest and greatest in gaming news during my morning, walks for coffee or tea or whatever I opine. I want to talk about this thing with Phil Spencer being called out by David Jaffe. This has been making the rounds. David Jaffe, for those of you that don't know, is the creator of God of War. He also created Twisted Metal. So those are PlayStation favorites. And he has a lot of experience with PlayStation and how they operate and the level of quality that they strive for with their partnerships, how they manage games, whether they're first party, second party, all that stuff, right? Now, since he's become a content creator, he's been very vocal on why he thinks that Xbox, even though he loves Gamepass, but he thinks Xbox just is doing a horrible job managing their output. He's been very vocal about this on Broadband bully content. We had him on the show. We had him on Best Damn Podcast one time. He's been vocal in his streams, and he's even more recently been on a show called, I think it's called Game On Podcast. I think it's an Xbox centric podcast. I'm not sure. I've never heard of it. But he's on there with Dealer Gaming, who is a Xbox influencer, and he has the host of RDX Podcast, which is like the biggest Xbox podcast on YouTube right now. Okay, so Dealer was on there with David, and Dealer, along with the hosts of, I think, Game On Daily, Game On, whatever it is, they tried to, I don't want to say push back, but they questioned David on his ire for Xbox management style. And he said, look, the proof is in the pudding. He said PlayStation would have never, ever launched a platform with no exclusive games to go with it at launch. Like he said, Xbox would have put people on a plane, would have had them in the crappiest hotels if need be, for them to visit said studio and say, look, said title is very important to our launch. Like, we need you guys to step it up, and we're here to help however we can. How can we help? Because this is important. And there seems to be that lack of presence at Microsoft. I even personally always go back to the example of Yoshida when he first approached Cory Barlog about the reboot of God of War and what they showed him at first. And Yoshida was like, no, this is not it. And go back to the drawing board. And you got the God of War that you see today that people talk about, they set like at the pinnacle as far as what they're looking for a top-notch game. You know, that's like the example, right? And again, you're proud to have said example when it comes from your studio, and your studio is an exclusive first-party studio, meaning which translates to the community. The best way to get this quality is you got to get our products. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a multiplat. If you don't have a PlayStation, you're not going to play this game, or maybe more appropriately now, you're not going to play it day one, you know? So that's a big deal for a company like PlayStation, who really had to fight itself out of a big hole that it created with the PlayStation 3, and now sees itself the heavy favorite. If Microsoft wants to turn things around to become more competitive, they have to admit that level of quality. Having sheer quantity or giving people access isn't going to do it in the console world. You know what I mean? They don't have the best tech. The best tech is, when it comes to cloud gaming, is Stadia. They don't have the most games. The most games are GFN. You know what I mean? They may have the most successful game subscription product, but to a 1.6 billion-dollar gamer base, that's not something you could clap clap like a baby seal for, especially when you try to force people into that, and they resoundingly rejected it when you tried to uptick the price of Xbox Live Gold. So, with all that said, I don't think that David Jaffe was wrong. I know he's stirring up a lot of controversy, but I think he's fair in his assessment. This is coming from someone that has been an Xbox fanboy since, you know, the release of the OG Xbox, and more particularly when GameCube fell off. When GameCube fell off, Xbox was my immediate ecosystem and platform of choice, and I stuck to it. So it's going to be interesting to see how Microsoft handles this in the long term. In the short term, what we have seen them do is the Phil Spencer Twitter account blocked David Jaffe. Instead of just muting the guy, I don't know what blocking him does. Again, you could have just muted him, you know? But hopefully what ends up happening is everything works out. Everybody gets there. They get to see Microsoft do better in the output of product. There's better management and so forth, but off the bat, it's not looking like such right now. I mean, you got Bethesda games coming, but what difference does it make if Microsoft isn't going to make those games exclusive? We got word from the CFO. The CFO said, hey, look, we have no plans of making them exclusive. So we'll see. We'll see how all that works and how all that pans out. So with that said, that's it from your boy in regards to this matter. I mean, let me know what you think. I don't get the controversy. I don't think that Jaffe said anything particularly out of order. I think he's right. I think in full detail he's fleshed out why he said what he said. Now, you know, Jaffe's known for, you know, doing crude and lewd jokes and stuff like that. That's just his stick. But as the CEO of a big-time Fortune 500 or the sector within a big-time Fortune 500 company, I can't see why I would eat away at you so much when you got to block said entity. He's not doing crazy. He's not doing insane stuff, you know, or stuff that's puts you in danger. So, but with that said, thank you very much. If you appreciate this, let people know. And until next time, have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.